We are live.
Yeah.
Live from Radio City Music. Yeah, Radio City Music Hall. That's the name.
Sure thing.
That's the thing.
Very well.
Well,
Hi.
That's your cue.
I start?
Yeah,
Do I usually start?
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty. So, hi, I'm Define,
And I'm the water, and you're listening to A Cup of Tea.
a podcast about exploring life through each other's eyes.
Well, sharing a cup of tea with you.
I feel like today we're mixing it up a little bit.
We are. We're out of our usual assortment of tea.
We're not. We
flavors.
just restocked.
We did.
We
That is
just
true.
restocked.
Is this a new one? Is this one of the new?
No, I just had it, and we just hadn't tried it.
I see.
I'm actually almost out of this one. This is one of the ones that the bicha got me for Christmas.
Oh, last year?
Yes. Like not this
2020.
past Christmas, the
Yeah, no.
Christmas before that one.
Yeah.
Wow.
Cute.
That tea has lasted a long time.
It has. And you know what? I was thinking, so we're at this moment, we are editing episode number 11,
Mm-hmm.
I think. And it's so wild because we recorded that episode a year ago.
That is wild.
And I'm wearing my headphones and they were new at the time. And our hair looks so different. We actually started that episode talking about our hair,
Oh. Interesting.
which you wanted it to be longer. And now it is longer.
And now it is longer. It's getting there. It's getting there. It's not my usual length yet. It has to be like way down here, but
Yeah.
it's getting there.
Which I've been preparing myself, watching YouTube tutorials.
Have you really?
I have.
Oh my god, yes. There will be a vlog episode where she cuts my hair.
Yes.
And we'll see how that goes. Stay tuned.
Yeah. So we're drinking mint tea today.
All right, that was the whole point.
Yes, that was the whole point. I don't know where it came from. The beach, I got it somewhere.
It's not David's tea. It's from this, like, I don't know the name. It's a little shop in Saint Foy. So for anyone in Quebec City that knows that tea shop, that's where I got it from.
Cool. So yeah, that's what we're drinking. I'm having it. Was it tempting to be cold? It's actually hot.
I tried my best.
And yours is milky.
It is milky and it's really nice, actually. I'm happy with it. Do you want
Nice.
to try it?
It has coconut milk.
It does.
Okay, sure.
Last time you had coconut milk, you didn't even notice.
Yeah. Interesting. Now that tastes like toothpaste.
What?
It does.
And yours doesn't?
No. It
I don't
doesn't
believe
taste
this.
like toothpaste. It's the creamy consistency. What gives it the toothpaste?
It does taste
Finish.
different. But I don't associate it with toothpaste.
That's
so
fine.
it's okay.
You're the one that has to drink it.
Oh, I'm mighty fine.
All right. Yeah. So there's many thoughts revolving around my head right now because when we were setting out to record this episode, the Pine was like, "So what are we talking about today?" And I said, "I have this idea that I've had in the back of my mind for a couple weeks."
Mhm.
And I actually wrote it down. I have it posted because I wanted to remember not key points or anything. It's just that I didn't want to lose the idea, you know?
I don't know if this posted situation is something that it's been going on for years, or you're just doing it more right now, or what it is. But you just keep bringing post-its, and post-its keep popping up everywhere. I'm just like, what is this?
I've had post-its forever. The general use of post-its has been a thing for a long time. I think probably since high school.
But for this sort of reminders and putting them in the back of your phone and randomly just showing up. I've just
I mean, that is the thing is there's so many things on my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like we're not spreading ourselves too thin, but yes, exactly. So when there's something specific that I don't want to forget, and because I don't trust my phone's reminders anymore,
why?
Post-its.
Why do you not trust your phone?
Because I just say that I'm done with them, even though I'm not. I'm just like, oh, get off here. I don't care about you right now, and so I just ignore them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I see.
so they're not reminding me of anything anymore.
Yeah.
Hence Post-its. And plus, just writing and then crossing it off is a much better feeling. Yeah. Than just tapping, oh yeah, I did it. You know? Not the same gratification.
Interesting. All right.
Okay. So,
I'll take that.
There's this thing that I can't quite read. I don't think you can read it either.
I thought that was my problem out of the two of us.
The thing is that my pen was running out of ink. It's the very last one. Which then it makes it completely unreadable.
Thought?
Yeah. That's the only thing I can read.
Being alone.
Oh yes, that was the thing. Okay, so if you're new to our podcast, or I guess this is a new thing in general, The Pine just started a vlog.
Oh yes, I did,
and
I'm very excited about it.
It's not only the vlog. There's another project.
I have thoughts, but I want to hear your thoughts. My thoughts are very easy, simple. So okay. So there's the new project, which is, they're both new, but okay, there's the vlog, which is Intomesee YouTube channel, and there's also, well, technically the channel is called Intomesee. My handle is Intomesee because someone had Intomesee, and I'm like, how dare you? But anyways.
So you have thoughts.
I have thoughts. So my thoughts are very short. I don't know if yours are, but the only thing is that, okay, so there's the two projects, right?
Yeah.
There is the vlog, and then there's also the podcast Intomesee. And so I wanted to publish the podcast, and you and I were talking about making a video version for the podcast.
Yes.
However, because it's still sort of ethereal in my head, I think I'm just going to start posting the podcast and worry about the video podcast at some point. Because otherwise, I feel like I'm just going to keep holding off doing the podcast because I don't have a video version for it. So I'm on the verge of making that decision of just doing the audio right now and not worrying about a video version for it.
I like that. Look at you.
Yeah.
Making executive decisions.
What are your thoughts?
I think it's so okay, my thought, my executive thought on the matter is that it's a good thing. If you keep just waiting and waiting and waiting, then
yeah, I've been trying to think.
Happen.
I've been trying to think and figure out what I want for the video version, but like I said, it's quite not there yet. I was saying probably the other day of my creative process is very, I see it in my head and then I want to make it. But there's times when it happens the other way where I don't see it. I know that I need/want to make something, but I don't see it yet. And then it's way more difficult for me to accomplish it. So that's what's happening here. And it's, I think I should just post the audio, worry about the video version later. Whenever, right? No one's forcing me to do the video version right now. So.
And I think I told you, I don't know if it was that I told you about the vlog or about the Intomesee, this thing about, because it's being your creative outlet and there's no agenda to it right now, then you should just do it and not worry about it so much.
Yeah, I know.
Because if you start worrying about it, it defeats the purpose of being the creative outlet.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I want to do a creative thing for the video version. But part of the podcast and the point of the podcast is just to let it out, just to process my thoughts. So, yeah. But that's before my executive decision commentary, you had thoughts that were not executive.
They were not executive at all. Yeah, no. So the other day you sent to me the first, is it the first? The first,
it will be the first episode, yes.
Episode to check the tech aspect of it, which I didn't finish listening to. Now that I think about it, I think I just listened to the first half. And you were talking about, I don't want to spoil it, but you were talking about Christmas, and you were saying stuff that took me back a little bit to, there's this other episode where we're talking about our honesty policy and how you ended up saying we often, or rather now, don't call it as we used to before.
Yeah, I think it's like we don't have the need to call honesty policy.
Which I will say, I sometimes feel like because we don't need to call it, that it's also preventing us from saying stuff sometimes that we should say.
Okay.
Or maybe that because I think that part of the calling it used to be that we either had to say something about the other person or we wanted to say something about ourselves that we were very unsure about. And so saying stuff about the other person, I don't think is a problem.
Saying things
things about ourselves is where lately, I mean, we've caught each other doing it. So I think it's a good thing. Like, there's times when you've told me stuff and I'm like, oh, look at you sharing and things. And other times when I'm like, I don't really want to, but I think I should say this and that kind of thing. But you were on this episode. You're talking about, I think at the point, whenever this episode comes out, you probably will have already released Intomesee. So you're saying that you spent Christmas alone and you were basically advertising that you were going to be alone and you were very fine with it and it was going to be super fun. And you were basically...
I was telling everyone that, I'm so okay with this.
Like, bullshitting your way through Christmas.
But the thing is that I was telling others because I was telling myself.
Yes, exactly. That's the point. That is precisely my point. And so it just got me thinking of how you were saying that to convince yourself. And at the same time I was listening to your episode, I was thinking, I was having like a rough week in the residence. And I got sort of, my mind took me back to last semester when I was like anxious all the time and worried about my social life and the whole dorm atmosphere. And it was just horrible. And especially because I went from this thing of being like, oh, it's super awesome, I'm back, I'm having so much fun, I know how everything's working, to, am I going to go to the cafeteria? Like, who am I going to talk to? What am I doing? How am I spending my time? And being very judgmental towards myself. And comparing myself to this image that I have of what everything should be like.
And how you should be like?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, so when you sent me the episode, I was like, haha. We're both, like...
going through stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. So I thought this would be a nice episode to, like, talk about it.
All right.
You know?
Well, are you feeling better?
I am, yeah.
Okay.
Compared to that week, yeah. And it's not like I was on the floor crying, like... And I mentioned this when we were preparing, that you got me hooked into Big Mouth. And now I'm about to finish it, and I don't want to, because I'm really liking it.
It is so good.
It is so good. But it's fine, because when I finish it, I'll finish watching Human Resources.
Yes.
And if you haven't watched it, it's a animated show about two boys in middle school, with their feelings and with teenage years and hormones and social anxiety, and it's a bunch of things. But all these feelings are represented by monsters or creatures.
Yeah.
Like, there's a hormone monster, which is the best thing in the world.
Yeah, love him. Love Cody.
And then there's a depression kitty.
Yes.
And an anxiety mosquito. And so I thought of, like, that
and Shame Wizard.
Thing.
Don't forget the Shame Wizard.
Oh, yeah. He's freaking... The fact that his mom is Helen Mirren. Like... And he's voiced by Lupin from Harry Potter. So that's just really funny to me. So I felt the depression kitty, that week.
I do appreciate that show when it comes to, like, giving visuals to that kind of thing. Because even there's a Pockets in the Universe episode where Pablo talks about his anxiety and how seeing Tito the mosquito as a representation was very helpful. Mm-hmm. So, like, I'm very happy about the show. And we're saying that thing of, like, if only I had that show when I was growing up.
Yeah. I feel like it would have been forbidden. You know, parents would have been like, that's not something you can watch. And I was actually wondering, what channel would it have aired on if it had been on TV? You know, like MTV? Maybe. Or FX? Where the Simpsons aired? And FX, right? Or something like that.
Warner?
Maybe. Something like that. But
I don't know.
We're past that age.
Yeah, we are.
I do like the visual representation of those feelings a lot.
So you went Depression Kitty and Tito the mosquito?
A little bit, yeah. Okay. Both, because they tend to come together. Fuckers. I don't know what triggered it, but it was it's like a feeling of anxiety of thinking that on the one hand I'm in this environment that, if I'm not careful, triggers these things, is what I noticed.
So you mean like living in the dorm?
Yeah, because sometimes it can be cool to see some people that I've started to become friends with, and it's nice to. There's a security guard who you've met.
He's really nice.
He's really cute. Yeah, he's really nice. It's this old man. He's from Australia.
He's so nice.
His name's Peter. Yeah, and he's so sweet. Every time anyone comes in, it's like, hi, and he asks you how you're doing very genuinely, and he's open to just have a conversation at any point. Last year during Christmas, I think he hung up a photo of his family, and it said, "This is Peter's family." They are, I don't know, he has 2 children, I think, and it says their names and his wife's name, and it says like he's from South Africa.
Australia?
Yeah, I was wrong. He's from South Africa. Okay, not Australia. And he's been here for 20 years, something like that. And yeah, he's adorable. And there's also a couple people that are nice to talk to, and it's like nice to run into them. None of them are my friends.
Okay.
I would say, but yeah. And then there's other times when I don't know, I just get very insecure about the vibe. Like, so for example, the cafeteria is something that was very stressful to me last term.
Oh, because of that thing of like, who do I sit with? Or do I sit by myself?
Yeah, exactly. Which now I'm like, who the fuck cares, right?
Okay.
It doesn't matter. It's not a huge thing anymore. And if I see somebody that I know, I'll just go and sit with them.
Are you also okay sitting by yourself?
I haven't done that.
Oh.
Which I think I would be.
Okay.
But I'm mostly running around getting food. Like, oh, it's time for lunch. Okay, go get it. Come back. Keep working.
Yeah.
So not a lot of time to stop and wonder. There. Okay. But yeah, and I don't quite know. Maybe the post-it says what the thing was.
Something alone? Or is that...
No, it's just... Okay, so I wrote down feeling vulnerable here and confronting it. Which I guess was the moral of the story of... I don't know how I did it. But at the end, I came through the, like, feeling horrible thing again.
That is a good question, though. So, like, okay.
Yeah.
You were feeling this sort of, like, depression kitty, Tito the mosquito thing. And 1, you didn't tell me about it.
Yeah.
And 2, you got through it. So, like, explain yourself.
I don't remember how I got through it. I probably wrote something down, like, in my notebook.
That's nice.
But I don't remember right now. And I guess it must have been just doing stuff, going out. I think maybe that was the day that we went to English Bay. Oh, you know what else? I do remember this. I was playing video games during that weekend. And I was listening to, I think it was the Ear Biscuits episodes where Ren and Ling were talking about their holidays, and Ring had a sling because he dislocated his shoulder. And there's a point in one of those episodes where Red talks about going to therapy, but not just going to therapy. He says something that is like super open, and I was like, oh wow, that like seriously warmed my heart, and I was like, that is so sweet, and I'm so happy that he's saying that. I think there was this, I don't know what this thing I'm referring to is, but another one was that Link said that he was actively trying to not interrupt him while he was talking. And Red was like, thank you, man. I really appreciate it. Like, genuinely, that's like the best gift you could have given me. And I was like, oh, that is so sweet. So that bit of wholesomeness, I think is part of, okay. Part of what hit me. And part of probably what helped me get through it, I guess. So yeah, there's like not really a moral of the story here right now. I'm just trying to
think your thoughts, and feel your feels.
Yeah, kind of.
All right.
Yeah. And so then,
nice.
Cut to listening to your episode.
Right.
On the one hand, and this is a whole other cup of tea that maybe we can get into at some point, but I was listening to your podcast, and you were talking about how you had stopped talking to your brother because when you moved here, after moving here to Vancouver, then Pablo came here, and you guys found an apartment together.
Yeah, I moved from living with my brother, and my nephew and my niece, to moving in with Pablo. Yeah.
And you said
for the first time
that your brother felt abandoned by you.
And then you were like, oh, I know what this feels like.
Yes, exactly. I do. And so first I was thinking I know how he feels. I know because I went through something very similar. Almost the exact same thing, I want to say. But I don't know that it is the exact same thing. So
probably not the exact same thing, but similar to some extent.
Yes. Which I heard, it took me back to that moment of feeling the same thing your brother was feeling. And how we went to this, a couple of weeks ago, we went to a trivia night for the Gilmore Girls, which we made a whole episode about. And I said that I remember that we watched the Gilmore Girls A Year in the Life, only I don't remember what happens in the show. I just remember this one moment when we were getting ice cream at the supermarket during like episode 2 and 3 probably. And we finally talked about this big fight that we were having at the time. And I don't know if that's actually, no. You know what? It's not the same. Okay, no, I'll take. I'm gonna go back a little bit because that was a different fight. It was not the one where I felt like your brother.
No, the one where you felt like my brother was like in high school.
In high school, yeah.
Yes.
But anyway, so we had a fight when we were in high school, and I felt like your brother. And so, but the point here was, again, I'm not making any sense. Bear with me.
I am curious as to where she's going.
No, I'm just thinking, I was very curious to sort of listen what your thought process was at that time. And
at that time?
No,
now?
Like right now. I don't know how similar or how different it is to what it was like at that time.
Who knows?
But I just thought, oh, so this is what she's thinking. Like, it's not, because you were saying something like, it's not my problem, like he has to deal with his emotions, like be responsible for his emotions and what he's feeling, and it's his problem to solve, it's not mine. To coddle him into solving.
Yeah. So, yes, the whole thing is that in my family, I feel like we have coddled him to some extent, and while living together, there was this whole thing where he was like, I want you to help me, because you're very independent and I need to be more independent, but I don't want you to do things for me. And I was like, all right, that sounds great. And then in theory, it sounded great, but then in practice, it was all very difficult. And sometimes I just wanted like this magical, like a wish, like a wand, something to be like just do it like this, just do the thing. But you can't force people to do the thing or to do a thing, right? Yeah. And then in this matter, it's the same thing where like I feel like if I step up, if I am the bigger person, I take away the opportunity from him to be the bigger person, which I think he needs to be.
I think he needs to be as well. But here's where I digress. That because if we take this back to, the depression kitty and all of the things that we were saying before, if he's in this mental state, which I think we have confirmed that he is partially, I don't know how well he's doing now, but if he's with his depression kitty on top of him and his willpower is non-existent, then there's no way, or there's very little chance that he'll actually come up and talk to you and be like, hey, dude, I felt horrible. Let's fix this. Yeah. Yes. Which is where I was saying that you should go and try to talk to him, because it's a thing that you do because you're so detached from people, when you do something that affects somebody else, not that you do it on purpose.
Doing like what? Oh, like because I moved out?
Yeah. Like you were planning on doing this. It was always gonna happen. So I feel like you take it as, oh, I said it. I said this was gonna happen. However you feel is not my problem. And oh my God, I feel like my dad right now. A little bit. I'll go back to why, but so you're saying, okay, it's your feeling, it's your problem. I'm not responsible for how you're feeling. Which there's truth to that. But there's also, which is what my dad says, that if you are saying something, if you're trying to convey a message, it is your responsibility to look at what the other person is listening to see that you come through the way you want to come through. So if you want to be like, I said this should be fine, because you had a warning or something, but you're telling me that it's not fine, like he's feeling bad even though you gave him a warning, so it's his fault that he's feeling bad about it.
Well, the thing is that we're talking hypotheticals because we don't know what he feels.
No, I do. I know. I'm aware. This is just an exploration. This is not about your brother. I feel what I'm trying to say, what I'm thinking about, this is not about your brother. It's about how we've talked about your approach to these situations where you get detached from the problem.
Well, I feel like that was me.
But don't you think that it still is you in this way?
Not in this particular thing. If anything, I feel very attached to it.
Then,
which is why I went on a rambling session and made it into a podcast.
Well, there's that. But my point the other day when we were talking was
that I should talk to my brother.
Talk to your brother.
I'm not in a hurry.
Which, okay. Well, I don't know how this episode's going, but I think that thing of you're not in a hurry is like such a common thing to say, like, oh, it's fine, I can fix it anytime, because he's always gonna be there. But if you think about it more in terms of, for example, when the other, I don't know, like before Christmas, He was having a very bad time,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a whole drama thing, and like, I'm just thinking, what if, I don't know how he's doing now, or this can just be a hypothetical case, but what happens if he's not actually there anymore, and you are thinking, oh, it's fine, I can just fix it whenever.
Oh no, I'm at peace.
Oh, like how whatever happens, you're okay with it?
Well, the thing is that I know I have my feelings, which are again rambling and turning it into a podcast. But I am at peace with giving him the space to make his own choices.
So it's not like you don't feel like because you want him to be in your life, then there's nothing. Like, so I guess there's a multi-part aspect to this. Is it first, how much do you want him to be in your life? And then second, how much or little are you going to do about it?
I do miss him. I do miss what we had when we were living together. There is that, but I understand those to be my feelings. And one of the things that he would do when he would get into this sort of like empty voids in himself, he would turn things around and blame the people around him for giving him stuff, you know? And that was very difficult for me to like experience firsthand. But I feel like I want to actually listen to him. And if that's what he was complaining about, I feel like before I was trying to control the situation and I was trying to do things and fix him. And right now I'm at peace with knowing that it's not up to me to fix him. And like you said, before Christmas, things were very difficult. And I was able to put all of our fight and whatever to the side and help him because he needed me. And I'll do that and I'll continue to do that, which is what I was telling you. Like, yeah, even though we're technically, quote unquote, not talking to each other, we still say hi to each other in the like family chat. And if I see the other day when we went to Whistler, there was like this sort of like living complex called Valhalla. And I was like, oh, look, you should live here because he like has a Viking thing. So to me, and again, we're like kind of like flying blind because we don't know his side of things.
Yeah.
But to me, I feel like I'm at a place of, I know I have my feelings and like I miss him and I have to process what I'm going through. But just because I'm going through it doesn't mean that I have to take it to him. I don't have to go to him and be like, I have all these feelings. Do something with them. They're mine. And I have to do something with them.
Interesting. No, but I'm like, so you know how we're saying that this is a podcast about sharing life through each other's eyes? This is one of those moments where I'm like,
seeing life through each other's eyes.
Yeah. Because what I would think is not, it's not about go talk to him. It's not like, oh, I'm coming here to talk to you with my feelings, so you can fix them for me.
Or do something with them, not to fix them. But
I would say or do something more along the lines, which is something that I like what I usually do. More like, oh, I have these feelings and I'm telling you about them, not so you can fix them for me, but so that while I'm telling you about them, I can fix them. Which I know that is like there's that difference in how we operate on saying things. Which is, I guess, what I'm saying. Like, you don't have to go to your brother or have him come to you so that you fix his feelings for him. But it may be a way in which he can fix his and you can fix yours. But I mean, again,
Well, that's the thing. Okay, so because this whole thing is kind of based on my experiment, because again, like, I don't know if what I'm doing is the right thing, but my approach here is to let him come to me whenever he's ready. Then he can come to me and talk about his feelings. But I'm not going to go to him and talk about my feelings.
Why?
Because of the thing of giving him space, and whenever he wants to, he can come.
But okay, yeah, that's about him.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, why don't you do it for yourself?
Because I'm okay.
She says that.
I'm
then
okay
she drops these like intense podcasts on you.
I'm okay in the grand scheme of things. It's that thing that I said, that I'm at peace with what's happening. Because otherwise I feel like I'm trying to control the situation, and I'm trying to, like, again, bring him my feelings. I'd be like, because I have these feelings, we have to fix our relationship. And I don't think so.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what to.
Thoughts? Feelings?
I guess I just find it interesting on the one hand. That you're seeing this, that you're okay with it. There's a part of me that truly doesn't buy it. I'm like, sure.
Well, I
keep telling yourself that.
So you and I know that I'm very good at compartmentalizing.
Yes.
And keeping things in separate places.
Yeah.
So again, in my mind palace of things, there is various levels to our relationship of me and my brother. And there is I don't know which one's higher and which one's lower, because they kind of like trade places every now and then. Like, I don't know. But in the day-to-day thing where we're not in each other's lives, I am sad that is the case. But I also know that in the grander scheme of things, where if he needs me, I will be there. And I believe that if I need him, he will be there to whatever extent we can be there. I'm at peace with that. That's the thing.
Okay. Then I think, yeah, I see that, because I'm just thinking of how, to me, it bothers me that
yeah, I can see that.
No. Okay, it doesn't like. I mean, ultimately, it doesn't bother me that you don't talk to your brother.
No, I know, but there is something here happening.
Yeah. Because when you were saying this about your brother, I thought of my brother too, and how I have told you, like, I'm upset that I can't talk to my brother. Like, I've tried calling him, and he's very not answering, not participating with anybody. He doesn't reply to our family group chat. And as much as I've tried, there's no response from him. And I have also that same feeling that you have of, oh, I miss him in my daily life, which is why I'm saying, if you have the chance to go and fix it and have it, maybe not sort all of the shit that's in there. I'm not saying go and have a major life-changing, all-fixing situation.
Well,
but having
small window here, like honesty policy, I also think there exists a little, and it is small. It's not grand. A small part of me that is sort of afraid to be vulnerable with him. Of like, okay, fine. Let's say that for all the quote unquote wrong reasons, just because of the experiment and the approach. Because I believe what I'm doing, like giving him the space and whenever he wants, come, whatever, that thing, I think that's what I'm trying to do. Let's say that I go against that. and actually go up to him and be like, hey, so I miss you. All of this happened and I have all of these feelings and I want to know where you are. And there is a part of me that is afraid of exposing myself to him in that way and not getting out of it.
What you're expecting?
Not even with what I'm expecting, but with something quote unquote good enough to make the vulnerability worth it.
See, that's why the post-it said vulnerability and shit.
But continue with your thing. Since we're like being very open about it, I was like, well, I guess I'll say it.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for being honest and vulnerable.
Okay.
And opening the honesty policy.
Go ahead about your brother.
Yeah, so I've had this thing with my dad now that where we talk about how, in a kind of similar way to your brother, he's very coddled and he's used to having things going his way and everybody helping him out. And when you say no to him, he gets angry and he's like, oh, so you don't care about me? You, like, I'm no longer a part of this family. He said very dramatic things. Which my dad now has an approach of being, according to him, very zen. He's not going to worry anymore. He's going to be chill.
I am curious about this approach of your dad.
So the thing is, I think I've learned to be very wary when people are trying to be very chill, which I have tried. Because in my experience, it's just a front for... It's like, you know, and I'm going to go back to Big and Magic. No, it's not Big Magic. Big Mouth.
Very different things.
Yes. Where there's this episode where Nick has to fight himself because he became a ghost and his body is inhabited by his future self, Nick Star.
Yes. Oh, wow.
And he has to go into his body, like the ghost self has to go into the body and fight the future self. And it's very like Inception-y because after going inside his body, he goes inside his future self's body and discovers this very tiny version of him that is crying and is saying that he's afraid of just being himself. Yes. It's so wholesome. Like it's very funny. It's a very funny, dirty show, but at the same time it's so wholesome and I really like it.
Yes.
So it takes me back to that. It's like just setting up a wall of saying, I'm chill. When you're just protecting yourself against whatever else. And because I am trying to not do that of I'm chill with my brother. Because I am not chill about it. Like, I've tried to talk to him, I've tried to do stuff, but it's not working. Which it has gotten me to a point where it's not that I don't care anymore, but I don't have the energy to be drained by this when I have other things that I want to focus on. And it bugs me that while you seem to be in a better standing to fix your situation, to have...
I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
Why would you think that I'm in a better standing to fix my situation?
Because you're 30 minutes away from him. And because he's still responding to a family text in the group chat. Because he's a little bit more approachable. I mean, it's hard to compare.
It is.
But it seems on paper to me that
I don't know how
it's more approachable than... Because if my brother doesn't pick up the phone, then he doesn't pick up the phone. And there's no other way for me to talk to him, you know? And if he doesn't respond to a group chat, it, like, again, you can badger him, but he won't reply. I mean, I'm exaggerating a little, but that has been the case where we're trying to have him answer, and he doesn't answer for, like, however long, like half an hour or 2 hours. Like, dude, we need an answer for, I don't know, it was like when around Christmas, we need to find him a ride from the airport to the house. And it was very annoying. And it's like a reflection of this ongoing thing of he's not being communicative at all.
Okay.
And I feel like, on the other hand, your brother is a little bit more open. And so there's maybe a little bit more of a window.
I wouldn't compare them because I just think they are in different levels, like different kinds of approachability. Like, I'm understanding this of like your brother not answering and how that can be very frustrating. And like, yeah, you're in different countries for starters.
Yeah.
And it's like, if he doesn't answer, like there's like no way, right?
And there's like, physical barrier.
Yeah, I know. I think mine is more of an emotional approachability. Yeah. Where does this leave you?
And I can understand better why you're not doing it.
Okay.
I guess.
Again, I don't know that this is the right call. It's just.
Do you truly think it is the right call for you right now?
I do.
Then I guess it's okay.
I mean, if anyone has any advice here, if you've been through a similar situation, please let us know. Because I'd be very interested.
If you're at the other end of this coin, because that is, I guess, a whole, like, we should have a cup of tea with them to truly understand what they're talking about, but it's not possible.
I mean, when me and my brother were in good standings, we wanted to do a pocket together. So it is possible.
Okay, so it's not that probable then.
Yeah. it is just like a breach that needs repairing.
Yeah. It does. It does. I don't know what else there is really. Like, there's no, again, no big takeaway. The thing is, because of even how I started talking about this and how you were at the beginning of the episode saying, so how did you get through it? How maybe sometimes there's no takeaway. Maybe sometimes there's no way through yet. I mean, I think we try to be very, like, I think about this in a very executive way of to make this an interesting podcast that people want to listen to. I have in my mind this idea of storytelling with whatever we do. And we do tend to sit here and tell stories and be entertaining and sometimes funny and sometimes not so funny. But today I think maybe there isn't that big of a story. There isn't that big of a...
Well, I think we went into like quite a deep look into our thought processes that we like. I don't know. It felt a little bit like a therapy session thing.
A little bit, yeah.
That I did not know that I was getting into. And yeah, I don't.
You have to trap her into it, otherwise she won't give.
No, I am better. But I know where
the sentiment comes from.
I do know. But I mean, more than a takeaway, I think what the takeaway of this episode could be about is something like what you were saying of how like this is not about your brother, and like this is not about our brothers. It's about the fact that we can dig deep and talk about it.
Yeah.
I guess. That's what I would say. All right, well. Oh, wait. What's your rec? You were very excited about something.
Oh, yes. So I started listening to this podcast. Like, flip 180 degrees here.
Yeah, what podcast?
It's called the Huberman Lab. And it was so random. So I was playing, as I said, I was playing video games. And I was watching Ear Biscuits. And after Ear Biscuits finished, this other podcast popped up. Like, autoplay on YouTube.
Okay.
And it's this huge guy who looks like The Rock, maybe? No. I mean, physically, he kind of looks like The Rock, except that he's white. But also bald. And in his 50s, I guess. And he's a doctor. And his podcast is about medicine. Like, so this episode that I was listening to was when I told you about of how the diet impacts neurological stuff. Mm-hmm. And so there was this doctor talking about keto diets and the Atkins diet affecting people with different psychiatric conditions,
schizophrenia or something,
or depression, or and then I found it again because now it follows me on the podcasts on my phone, and there was this one about training and building, I don't know, your body. Like, it was not exactly about bodybuilding, but it was very interesting about how to assess your fitness. And not only in terms of can you run 5 miles, but in terms of can you lift stuff? Are you, like, there's different ways to assess fitness in terms of mobility and flexibility, strength, endurance. And they talk about it. It's very long. Like, their episodes are somewhere like 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours.
I'm very interested
giving Seth Rogen a run for his money with the length of the episodes. But it's very interesting. Like, you can learn stuff because he is, I think he's an ophthalmologist.
Okay.
Huberman, the host. And his guests range in specialties from psychiatry to sports medicine from what I've listened to so far. So it's quite cool.
I am interested.
Yeah.
I do like all of those things.
Yes.
Nice. You should send it to me.
I will send it to you.
Okay. Very well then.
And thank you for joining us for this interesting, intense cup of tea.
Indeed.
Again,
if anyone wants to jump in, go ahead.
Yeah. And we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Thanks for sharing a cup of tea with us.
To watch more episodes of A Cup of Tea, click the link on the right. If you want to watch Pockets in the Universe, go to the playlist on the left.